What's up, college football nation, Big 12 nation? What am I? It's Tuesday night in America is what it is, and that can mean only one thing. It is time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric / Twitter-centric Big 12 themed college football YouTube show podcast. That's right, it's the one, it's the only, it is the Biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. Wherever you are, thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. We got a great show lined up for you. We're talking all NFL draft, right? Which honestly, like, in some ways, I think it's like one of the lamest things to talk about with regard to college football. You know, that's all the NFL people want to talk about is the draft. But hey, we got a lot of Big 12 alums playing pro football next year, and we need to talk about those folks. We need to talk about who's going to have the biggest impact moving forward, and you know that little giant story that everybody's talking about with those Colorado Buffaloes. But anyway, we're going to get to that. But first, I need some thanks from you. First, like and subscribe to the show at Big 12 VOCFB. There it is, right there on the screen. Come on, people, please give us that sub, please. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can do big things here on the channel. Make this a movement, make it a thing, all right? And I need your help to do that. Tell your friends, tell your neighbor's cat. I'm not above having cat subscribers. And while you're at it, subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations and my Twitter account at Clint_Foster55. There it is right there. And make sure that you're connecting with the voice of college football on Twitter and Instagram. We got a great presence out there on the webs, and also a voice of college football website now. Here it is, the VOCFB, or just not the VOCFB.com. All of the things that you want to talk about, all the stories, a show schedule. Do we have the Biggest 12 on here? So there it is right there. Look at that. The Biggest 12. You're watching it. You can get to the link from the website as well, and all of that Shadur Sanders stuff to talk about. So yeah, make this a part of your daily interneting, you know, checking out VOCFB.com. Lots of exciting stuff there. And also catch the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform. You name it. We're on it. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart. You know, maybe you're one of those people that does iHeart. We're there, okay? We received over 3,800 listeners in the last month without, you know, I mean, I've been telling you to do it. So, like, let's keep this thing up. Let's keep building this thing. All right. Is that all the podcast business out of the way? Yeah, more or less. Okay, so without further ado, let's get the show started. You know him. You love him. It's Brownie, ladies and gentlemen. Brownie, are you ready, sir, to talk some NFL draft with me, friend?
I think so. Here is a good one for you, since you decided to make a doozy of a trivia night for us last week.
I actually have a trivia question for you too, but go ahead.
Boo! Name the 3 schools that did not have a draft pick in the Big 12. Oh. Fairly simple and straightforward, but there were 3 schools that did not have one.
I have looked at the list several times, and I was not looking for that information. So let me think here. I feel like. Okay, hold on. Is Houston one?
Yes.
Houston.
Uh-huh.
I think Cincinnati did have one.
Yep, they had John Williams go to the Packers.
Yeah. I think. Why do I feel like BYU didn't have one?
Because you are correct.
Okay, yeah. So BYU's number 2, and how many were there?
3. You got 1 left. Yep. This one might actually kind of sort of shock you.
Okay, I know I saw Kansas State. I know I saw UCF. I know I saw West Virginia.
Yeah, and I already gave you the answer to the top 4 the other day when we were talking.
Yes. Kansas had Devin Neal. Right?
Devin Neal and Cable Dew.
Okay, yeah. And obviously Iowa State. All the ones behind me had picks.
Yep.
Was it Baylor?
It was Baylor.
Okay. Hey, look at that.
Baylor was the 3rd. It was one of those where I was sitting there and I was going through all of the stats for the Big 12 teams. And I was like, man, Did I just like completely skip over Baylor? Like, I feel like Baylor should have had at least like somebody go. Yep, nope, did not.
Not a single person. Hey, Clint Moses, do it. I see you in the chat, Clint Moses. You haven't been chatting in a while, man. Where you been? Good to see you. Okay, so we're gonna see one of my best friend from high school. We're gonna see if he's able to join us tonight. His second child is somewhere in the process of being born as we speak, but he is an NFL scout. So we'll see if he's able to join us and give his hot takes on the Big 12 draft. Maybe a little bit later in the show, but okay. Before we get started, I promised you, Brownie, that I had a trivia question for you. So this is regarding number one picks, first overall picks all time. Okay.
Oh boy.
And there have been, let me double check here because I counted earlier and I want to make sure I'm right on this. There have been four current Big 12 teams who have had a first overall NFL draft pick. All right. And my question for you is if you think you can name who they are. And I'll give you a clue. Only one of them has been in the Super Bowl era.
Oh Jesus. Okay. First overall picks.
Yes, first overall.
I
Four
don't
different
think
Big 12 teams.
I don't think LT went first overall.
He did
LT
not.
was-
He did not.
He was like fifth or sixth.
Yeah, he was fifth or
somewhere in
sixth.
there.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay. I'm gonna have to go on a whim and say that TCU is probably one of them.
TCU is one. Yes, 1939. This is national champion Kai Aldrich, the center on that 1938 national championship team. He went first overall, I believe, to the Chicago Cardinals, if I remember right, or somebody like
back
that.
in ye olden
Yeah,
days.
1939. Yeah, so he's one of your non-Super Bowl era ones.
Okay. Are we also going into like AFL territory with this?
No, just NFL.
Shenanigans?
Just NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okie State probably has one.
OK State is one. Bob Fenimore in 1947.
Okay. Trying to think of all of the other. Wait, Barry Sanders wasn't first overall?
No, he wasn't first overall. No.
That's some great ABS.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. I feel like they're all gonna be Southern schools because.
Well, actually, no. Actually, no.
Really?
The other one, the third one from the pre-Super Bowl era. Here's my three. The third one from the pre-Super Bowl era is a Southern school, but the one from the Super Bowl era is not.
Iowa State didn't have a first overall. Kansas State didn't have a first overall. Kansas. Did Aqib Talib go first overall?
No, it's not Kansas and not Gale Sayers. So.
Okay. I was like sitting there and I was like, let's see. Okay. The Northern school is the one that is Super Bowl era, though.
Yes. And I wouldn't. I mean, it's north of the Mason-Dixon line, but it's not like, yeah. I wouldn't describe it as a northern school per se, but.
The other one is a Southern school. I'm going to have to probably go with Texas Tech.
It is Texas Tech, yes. It is.
I was going to say, most of the Texas schools I know have had at least some form of top 3 draft pick, even in ye olden days.
Yeah, Texas Tech just missed the Super Bowl era. Dave Parks in 1964 was a first overall pick. So you got your 3 pre-Super Bowl era. Now one more that's Super Bowl era.
One more down in the middle of the roads.
When you hear it, Brownie, you're going to be like, oh.
It's got to be Colorado, because Colorado, I'm trying to think of...
It is not Colorado.
I swear to God, if it's Kansas State, I'm going to throw a bitch fit.
Not Kansas State either.
Okay. No. When did Geno Smith get drafted?
It's not West Virginia.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah,
I literally live Cincinnati or...
Nope, not Cincinnati.
Well, now
I'll give you the year. I'll give you the year.
Okay.
It was 2005.
2005 was like way before my day and age.
I forget you're as young as you are.
Yeah.
I remember watching this draft.
God. I don't think the Chargers had that first pick. Was that the Aaron Rodgers class, right?
Was that
Was
Aaron Rodgers?
2005 Aaron Rodgers?
Possibly.
Because if it was the Aaron Rodgers year, I can't remember if Aaron Rodgers was 04, 05, or 06. But if it's, I think it's 05.
He was, so yeah, that was the Aaron Rodgers year. Yeah.
Okay, then it was Alex Smith from Utah.
Yes, it was Alex Smith. Yes, very
I'm like
good,
sitting
Brownie,
here
yeah.
and I'm like trying to think of all the draft classes, and I was like, I can't figure out the freaking year. Like, if it was 2005, it was Alex Smith into Ronnie Brown into Braylon Edwards, Cedric Benson, and
Yeah, there
then
you go.
it was a Caddy Williams was 5.
Oh, I think Cadillac Williams was in that draft. Yes.
Yeah, Caddy Williams, baby, running back from Auburn. I just loved the name.
Yeah, Cadillac Williams. I definitely had him on a fantasy team somewhere in the high school days. Well, yeah, there you go.
One of the most egregious slides of quarterbacks, according to Mel Kiper.
Oh, yes. Speaking of which.
Oh, my goodness.
Speaking of which.
Let's just go straight into it.
Let's talk about it, because this is the thing that everybody's talking about, right? Shedeur Sanders. And Brownie, me and you were texting all weekend about this.
I was just laughing my ass off, dude.
Yeah. So okay, let's hit the people with our takes. What do we think about this possible new as Clint Moses put it, possible new Browns receiver, Shedeur Sanders? Why do you think he dropped? Why do you think this happened? He was projected to be top 5. What happened?
Overvaluation.
Yeah.
Overhype. I mean, if for me, I was never impressed by Shedeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do well his first year at Colorado. They went 4-8.
Yeah.
Next year they went 8-5. So sub 500 record for a quarterback. Not really good stat lines. And then everything that you saw come out of like the media days, like when he was, for example, the Cam Ward thing, where he was like, yo, man, like after this, you want to make like a rap album?
Yeah.
And Cam Ward's like, bro, I'm here to play football. And he's like, yeah, but what do you do in your free time? And he's like, play more football? Like,
yeah,
football is my life. Like, I'm not a rapper. So, like, that was kind of interesting to me. And then him trying to get into a beef about, like, Checkdown King, because Shedeur did throw a lot of bubble screens.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people were questioning was the exact same reason everybody gave Brock Purdy shit in the NFL. Oh, he's a checkdown king. He's a system quarterback. Is it really the quarterback or is it the weapons? Like, Shedeur Sanders probably had the best wide receiver core.
Yeah.
In the Big 12, like outside of Iowa State. Like, he had, again, 3 draft pick wide receivers go in this draft. I mean, you had the number 2 overall pick, Travis Hunter, which I think was a very blanketed player for him, right? I think Travis Hunter is just a freak.
Yeah.
Do I think that he deserved the Heisman? No, not really. But, like, he's athletically an absolute unit. I think he's going to do extremely well in Jacksonville. I think for Jacksonville, it's just going to be more wide receiver, running back. Where do you split it? And then Shedeur still had, let me pull up their other wide receivers here. Both LeJohntay Wester and Jimmy Horn both went in the 6th round. Like, 6th round for a wide receiver is still respectable. Like, it wasn't that deep of a wide receiver class, I would say. I think it was top heavy, but it's not deep like it usually is. So 6th round wide receiver is probably going to be a fringe NFL player on the 55 roster. Mm-hmm. Maybe practice squad. Somebody picks him up during injuries. Like, it happens with wide receivers a lot. But for me, I personally thought that Shedeur was probably going to go in like the 4th or 5th round. Because when you look at the stats, he's not the greatest. When you look at the athleticism, he's also not the greatest. But seeing how there were just enough teams that needed a quarterback in a quarterback depleted class,
Truly.
I felt like he was going to be a mid-round pick. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Steve referencing Dylan Gabriel here.
Yeah, right? I don't think I would have picked Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur either. I was never really impressed by them, but the Cleveland Browns have already enough issues as it is. I mean, you're looking at a quarterback room now that has old man Joe Flacco. That's probably going to be
this room is starter. Wild. Yeah. Please read them all. This is a wild room.
Yeah, so it's Joe Flacco who's probably going to get the nod. You got
Kenny Pickett,
Kenny Small Hand Pickett's, which they did not pick up his 6th year extension, so he's out of a job after this year. You got Let Me Touch Your Butt Watson.
Yes, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, with a very high payout this year. So you know for a fact he's going to make it. And then they pick up Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. You have 5 quarterbacks on your roster going into camp. And I love how like the guy was like, "Oh, well, at Cleveland, we always pick the best player for like our pick in the 5th round." And I was like,
yeah, that's definitely been borne out.
I'm like, yeah, but you're also the Cleveland Browns that are notoriously bad at quarterback talent when it comes to drafts.
Yep.
I mean, you have what? Couch, Manziel, now they have Dylan Gabriel that's probably going to get cut because I don't see them making it very far with him. And I mean, they wasted what was that? A 3rd? Was Gabriel 3rd or 4th round? Or was he actually 2nd?
I think 4th.
Yeah. That picture right there.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, look at all of those. It's so
add
bad.
Shedeur Sanders to the list, baby.
Like, why?
I mean, I wish like crazy. I was trying to get Brittany on the show because I know she had takes about Shedeur Sanders that he should have gone earlier. I was trying to get BMAC on the show, but he was working this evening.
I would have loved to hear BMAC.
Yes, I mean,
on this.
Because on one hand, is he more talented? I mean, okay, so I think it's hilarious.
I think he got.
Yes. And is he more talented than 5th round? Yes. Okay, yeah. I think that top 5 is a dramatic over-evaluation, but he should not have gone to 5th. The reason he dropped to 5th, Stephen A. Smith and all these national pundits who, y'all aren't watching them. You're watching YouTube, okay? You come here for the real analysis, okay? Everybody in the national media is trying to make it about race. This is not a race issue, okay? This is a Nepo baby with not great leadership qualities and a lot of baggage in that regard issue, right? Do you want to deal with the circus of his father calling you out for not giving him enough playing time, him flashing his watch and just generally being a bad sportsman? We've seen the clips after the Colorado State game, him working out with Cam Ward like you were talking about. Do you want to deal with all that nonsense, right? When you need a guy, Cam Ward's a guy who can hopefully turn your franchise around, right? He's going to go in there and work. He's not going to make it about him, right? He's a leadership guy. Do you get that from Shedeur Sanders? I don't think you do, right?
The huge difference is, and I think it just eclipsed in that tape itself, Cam Ward is worried about Cam Ward and Cam Ward football. Shedeur Sanders is thinking personal life, right? We saw this exact same thing with Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
And
of course he was also an alcoholic, but yeah.
Yeah. But when everybody always, because we thought Johnny Manziel was supposed to be a top 5, right? But then we learned that
the Cowboys didn't pick him. I thought for sure the Cowboys were going to pick him that year.
Yeah. But he got bailed out by Mike Evans so much. I mean, he was the king of screw it. Mike Evans out there somewhere. And just chuck the ball into quadruple coverage. And Mike Evans goes, well, I guess I got to go get the football.
Yeah.
And I see the exact same with Shador. Like, how he didn't make that many great of plays. He has a very large losing record against ranked opponents, and he's more focused about his social life and his social,
and his
like,
brand, and
yeah, he's worried more about that than he actually is football. Now, if you're specifically talking about taking a quarterback as a potential backup that can then build into the role, like the Aaron Rodgers situation with Brett Favre, where they come in and they know that they are the backup
yeah,
because they have those personal issues. Um, Getting Shador Sanders in the 5th round, fucking steal of the century.
yeah.
Like, I would have taken him in the 3rd.
Mhm.
If I'm being brutally honest, if the Chargers needed, let's say, like, Justin Herbert is in Philip Rivers age territory without like 50 kids.
Yeah,
I would not be mad if they took him in the 3rd round. I wouldn't, because I know that he's probably going to take his personal brand serious until he gets into the NFL and people start telling him, like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to work on. This is what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. But Shador's personality is not something that I would build around.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Right.
Cam Ward, hey man, I'm here to play football. We ran one drill and you're going and asking for a water break and a 15-minute break to go do TikToks. Like, no, we did one drill. Like, bro, come on, let's keep going.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that was one of the other breaking ports. Uh Chris Carter even like came on the record and was like, yeah, he's like, this isn't a Colin Kaepernick situation.
No.
He's like, it's not a race war or anything like that. He's like, you have multiple black quarterbacks getting drafted now because
Yeah,
you're starting to realize athleticism is needed in the role. Pocket
yeah.
passing has gone out the freaking window now.
The
Like,
only way this is like a Colin Kaepernick situation is all of these NFL GMs and coaches being like, "We don't want to deal with that. Like,
yeah,
we don't want that to be our problem."
and we all know that they are terrible at hiding secrets. We would have heard from somewhere, like even Adam Schefter basically said that Colin Kaepernick was blacklisted from the NFL. Like, we would have gotten something from Shefty saying that, like, he has been blacklisted, which he
Yeah.
has not.
No.
Like, I think it's literally the personality of him failing his interview, him
Yes.
having terrible workouts, him
Refusing to do the
foregoing
combine.
the combine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
Thinking
not
he's too
helping
good.
yourself at all.
Yeah.
Like, if
It's
you
literally a compounding effect. Yeah, you're totally right.
yeah, like, if you want to be the best and be a top 5 pick, show it, man. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be a leader. You have to have, like, oh, I get it. Sometimes you think that you're too good. You don't want to ruin your draft stock by an injury that could have been prevented by not doing all of these things. But the amount of people that go to the combine just to prove that they're better than everybody else, astronomical. Like Iowa State, I mean, I was genuinely shocked that Darian Porter, our corner, got picked over Jalen Noel, our arguably our best wide receiver. Like,
Yeah.
Jaden Higgins, athletically, freak of nature. Jalen Noel, slightly smaller. I get it. You don't want to go with like a 5'9" slot wide receiver until later in the draft because they're not as valuable as a 6'4", 230-pound wideout. But like, Darian Porter was a freak of nature. He went to the combine. He got a 9.99 on the RAS. Like, 4th overall in the RAS, and the top 3 are all 10.0s. And Shador's like, yeah, nah, I'm way better than that shit. Like, I don't need to do any of this.
Yeah, it's not worth the gain is not worth the pain, right? It's like, and yeah, Clint, to your point, I've heard the same thing, that like he was not taking criticism well. He did not handle the few interviews that he did take. He did not come off well in them. So
You can't read coverages, and the depressing part is Shador is the most athletic out of all of Deion Sanders' kids.
Yeah.
And this is a very telling tale that personality can tank your draft stock, just like Bo Callahan.
Yeah.
Nobody went to his birthday party.
Well, and I will say, like, that's one thing about the Cowboys draft. So I've actually come around to being fairly pleased with the Cowboys draft. I was really upset they didn't take a receiver. I think that's completely foolhardy to say the least. But one thing I do love about the draft as a whole is it seems like they were really targeting a lot of high character, culture, leadership type guys, which is something that Cowboys locker room needs so desperately. Not like there's a lot of bad dudes in the locker room, but I think if the Cowboys are ever going to win, they got to turn around that country club culture that's going on, that kind of like sense of entitlement. And yeah, you want those type of dudes. And Shedeur Sanders is not that guy. Maybe this humbles him, and maybe he starts to become that guy. Maybe, but yeah, wild stuff. There's a reason this is what everyone's talking about. And
took like a $20 million hit going from Colorado to the NFL.
Honestly, yeah. But we should also probably talk about that whole the whole prank call controversy. Man. Brownie, what's your thought on that? So for those of you who've been living under a rock, the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator's son got a hold of Shedeur Sanders' phone number. I guess he had a phone specifically set up for the draft, right? So he wouldn't be fielding other calls and texts while he's waiting to hear from teams. And this kid prank calls. I say kid, he's probably like 20 something.
He's prank 21. Let's not 21. Call him a kid. He's 21 years old.
This adult prank calls Shedeur Sanders posing as the New Orleans Saints. And tells him, hey, we're interested in you, but you're gonna have to wait around, like, just takes him on a ride. So he has since apologized, and there's all of this consternation on social media.
Daddy got fired.
Yeah, his dad did get fired. I did not see that. Wow, that's crazy. Well, so Brownie, so what are your thoughts on all of this? And chat, we want to know your thoughts on it too.
Freaking terrible, dude. It's absolutely terrible. Like, I just, first off, why? You're 21. Why?
Yeah.
Hold my beer is no longer in this situation at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. Second of all, this is your dad's job.
Yeah.
I come from a generation where if I jeopardized my dad's job, I would have gotten belt to ass.
Well, of course.
Within a millisecond.
Yeah.
Like, I blame the damn TikTok. Yeah, like, he probably did it for TikTok.
For the clout, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's absolutely insane. And I don't personally think that the dad should apologize unless the dad just left the phone number floating around somewhere. Yeah. Like, when do we need to start actually having a conversation where these kids, like, are being held accountable themselves? Because that's an adult. 21, you're an adult.
Yeah.
You need to make adult decisions.
Yeah, like, and
this is like somebody's life.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and he hadn't, he didn't do anything illegal, but like, come on, man. Like, he's got to be held responsible somehow. I don't know how, but yeah. I mean, I can understand the Falcons not wanting to be associated with that, but man, does that suck for his dad? Yeah.
Yeah. Dad got
wild
fired.
Stuff.
Congratulations, buddy. You just got your dad fired from a multi-million-dollar job.
Yes, indeed. Ridiculous. All right. So before we continue this chatting about all the rest of the Big 12 draft picks outside of Colorado, I got a quick piece of news for y'all out there. Check this out.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
All righty. So I do want to get into individuals that we think are in the best position to succeed moving forward, but we should talk about these four teams behind me. Colorado, Arizona, Oklahoma State, and your Iowa State Cyclones, Brownie, all tied with 4 picks in this draft. As a whole, the Big 12 had 31 selections, which is the conference's highest total since 2005, when the Big 12 had 32 picks. Now, that's, of course, a bit misleading because this is 31 picks from a pool of 16 teams as opposed to 32 picks from a pool of 12 back in 2005. But, still a good look for the Big 12 getting that many draft picks. I don't know, Brownie, which of these four, from an unbiased perspective, which of these four do you think has the most to hang their hat on from the guys that they've put into the league in this draft?
I mean, if we're just going based off of in the step in the right direction, I think for a program's standpoint, I think Iowa State blew it out of the water. We got a second round selection at wide receiver Jaden Higgins. We got third round selections defensive back Darian Porter, who honestly was treated more of a slot defensive back, but the crazy stat on him was 5 completions in 250 coverage snaps, which is pretty dang good. And even though he's not a natural defensive back, he played wide receiver and running back in high school. And so he was another Iowa State converter to DB. Absolute freak athlete. I think that dare I say it, the Raiders got a really good pick. Hate that he went to the Raiders. But there's a lot of upside for those specific players. Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins still going to the Texans. That's now 3 Iowa State wide receivers in their room to go with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. I think that there's going to be a lot of strong competition. The one shocker that I did actually have, and I don't necessarily think it's a shocker that he got drafted, I just think that it was more of a shocker of where he went, was also Jalen, but Jalen Travis for Iowa State. Offensive lineman. Obviously, you can never have too many linemen in the NFL draft. Get them in, see where they're at. It's kind of nice because he played both outside positions at Iowa State. So he played left tackle and right tackle. Versatility is obviously a thing in the NFL where you want to be able to slot your best 5 in the best 5 position. So at least for a program standpoint, you're starting to see Iowa State trend in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Yeah, it really speaks to with these other teams. You Oklahoma State and Arizona. Yeah, they got a lot of players drafted, but these are 2 teams that dramatically underperformed. Excuse me, this last year. Iowa State, it feels like you got momentum, right? Because there's still a lot of guys coming back, like we talked about last week, and this speaks very positively of the program. Not to mention the fact that all 4 of those Iowa State picks went you might have actually said this, but in the first 4 rounds.
Yep.
And Colorado, whereas Iowa State feels like the program is going. Maybe this is a little unfair. I mean, Colorado is certainly relative to where they were a couple of years ago. They're certainly moving in the right direction, but it feels more like Colorado lost some pieces that are going to be more debilitating, as opposed to Iowa State losing some good players with still some more coming down the pike. You talk about the Raiders, and again, we'll see if the Raiders. We'll see if my buddy's able to join. But the Raiders really got some strong Big 12 names there, like you said. Darian Porter from Iowa State, Jack Besh. What a fantastic pick for the Raiders there. I wanted the Cowboys to get him so bad. I also wanted the Cowboys to get Cam Skattebo. No dice there. I hope that he's able to thrive in New York. I will tell you this: we're going to see a lot of New York Giants Skattebo jerseys in frat houses in the coming.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with the territory. I remember when Breece Hall got drafted, there were a lot of Breece Hall Jets jerseys. And then when Brock Purdy took over the starting role and started getting real good, you can still see a million 49ers jerseys at Iowa State games. And like my boy, Will McDonald, right here, going to the Jets. I have a bunch of Will McDonald Jets stuff. Like it's definitely one of those things where you take a player and your university as a whole just starts to support them and back them.
Yep.
Will McDonald was the first round draft pick for Iowa State in a very, 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 very long time. And I don't think that there was as much hype for Will as there was for Breece Hall and Brock Purdy. but an edge rusher, unless your name is like Aiden Hutchinson, where you played at Michigan and then you get picked by the Lions, there's
Mhm.
not really that much love for the defense, which is a complete load of crack. But
Mhm.
if I'm just saying talent wise, who was the most successful in the Big 12 for their drafts, it's Colorado.
Yeah,
Travis Hunter is a generational person.
he is.
I might give him a lot of crap about a lot of things, but he's an athlete. You know that he's going to go into the NFL. He's going to be a starter for Jacksonville. You know that it's either going to be at wide receiver or defensive back. And really, I think Jacksonville has to taper that line at where and how often do you use him on both sides of the football?
Mhm.
Because you don't want a Bo Jackson situation, right? You don't want a
Yeah,
Deion Sanders situation. You don't want like a Michael Irving situation where you used him a lot and you're looking at a 5-year career.
yeah,
You want this dude to play 10 plus years. You want him to hit that 15-year mark. So it's really going to be interesting how Jacksonville plays it. I'm also very curious how fantasy football is going to handle this.
yeah. Actually, will he get interception stats as a single player at red? I mean, I'm sure he'll be a draftable wide receiver. I was or
Yeah.
utility.
Yeah, like, is it gonna be a Cordell Patterson situation where he like breaks the entire thing because he's also getting run snaps? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Clint, yeah, shouting out RJ Harvey. Yes, I think RJ Harvey's a great pick by the Broncos. Ted McMillan, I wish so bad T Mac was a Cowboy. I don't know
that
that he's
didn't
going to
end up on
thrive.
the Panthers.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think he's going to thrive there. There's not a great option quarterback wise there. But if we talk about guys who are going to have really successful careers, looking at this list, it's hard. I mean, it's hilarious. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, both with the Texans. It's hard not to see both of them
The
thriving, like you
Houston
were saying.
Cyclones is what it's becoming. It used to
Yes,
be a running joke where it was the New York Cyclones and Houston was like, "Hold my beer, I got this."
I really think Jack Besh is going to thrive with the Raiders, and Savion Williams with the Packers. That is a very loaded wide receiver room with the Packers.
I think
Uh,
the only like major questions that I see like just off of the page is like, can McMillan actually get out of Carolina, please? Like, I think he's way too good to have an Alabama quarterback throwing to him.
yeah,
Like, I feel like if another team that was wide receiver heavy that needed it in the top 7, I think that they should have pulled the trigger on him. But granted, this defensive class was just freaks of nature at the top.
yeah.
So
I have no idea why Taj Brooks lasted until the 6th.
I don't know either. I
I
think
think
Josh Brooks was one of the best running backs in the Big 12.
yeah, and he's going to thrive in Seattle. I think if
Yeah.
they give him some more offensive line help, yeah, there's a lot of good things that could happen there. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty solid class overall by the Big 12.
I think I think it's literally McMillan and like I'm just looking at it too. McMillan, Cam Scattaboo, and Shador, I think, are the 3 big question marks on
Hmm.
what they're going to do with the team that they have, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, Shador is an uphill battle with that quarterback room, which is absolutely stupid.
yeah.
Cam Scattaboo, obviously, the Giants are in a massive rebuild. They went and got a new quarterback. So maybe that they're going to potentially rely on the run game a little bit. And I mean, Cam Scattaboo reminds me a lot of a slightly slimmed down version of Mike Allstott. Like, he's
Well,
going to
yeah.
go downhill and he's going to barrel roll over some people.
I think he's a
But
better receiver though than Malik Alstott though too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So, I
you can use
mean,
him in a lot of ways.
are they going to try to use him like they did back in Saquon Barkley? Like, is he a
Yeah, I mean,
discounted Saquon Barkley now?
that yeah, like it's kind of what I thought. Like, I mean, he's not as athletic as Saquon
Oh,
Barkley,
God,
obviously,
no.
but I mean, who is? But
The dude has tree trunks for legs.
yeah,
Like,
but
nobody is that athletic.
I just hope, and of course, me being a long-suffering Cowboys fan, I hope he's not that successful. But like, I hope
Right.
he's able to find some success
You hope he's
behind.
successful 14 or 15 out of the 17 games of the year.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because I just, the Giants just have so many issues. But
There's way too many issues. I
yeah.
think the new head coach is a step definitely in the right direction.
Mhm.
And obviously they think pretty highly of Jackson Dart, but I mean, you're still starting with one of the worst teams in the NFL that hasn't had a decent quarterback since, dare I say it, even before Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Eli Manning was just a Tom Brady kryptonite. That's all he was.
Yes. That's all he was good for.
You cannot tell me otherwise that Eli Manning is an elite quarterback.
This is another one that I haven't heard anybody talk about, but Wyatt Millum is a massive steal for the Jags in the late third round. That's a really
And they're
good
going to need it
lineman.
too.
Mhm.
T-Law was like under pressure almost every other snap. I feel
Yeah.
like the NFL as a whole has an offensive lineman problem.
Yeah.
Like, name one good NFL team that has like an offensive line that doesn't absolutely suck for half of the football game.
Well, the Cowboys line was great for a long time. Hell of a lot of good it did us, but
You missed
yeah,
your window
yeah, you're telling me.
because you had Dak.
Yeah, yeah,
Tony Romo would have never.
yeah. Des caught it. That's all I gotta say. He freaking caught it, man. But yeah, I there's no other names that are just jumping off the page. I mean, I think DJ Giddens, he could be really successful in Indianapolis.
Ollie Gordon going in the sixth was also not on my
Yeah,
bingo card, but
that's interesting.
he
Yeah.
had a very bad year last year, and I think that was just personnel wise
Mhm.
and Okie State sucking as a whole. But I I really look at the running backs all in that sixth round, like Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal, and
Yeah.
Taj Brooks.
Yeah.
Like all three of those, I'm like, those were like the top 5 running backs in the Big 12, and you got them all in the sixth.
That's
Like,
gotta be a
that's insane.
situation. I mean, I feel like running backs are becoming more valued the more teams are playing too deep, safeties,
Yeah.
and uh,
Get back to
dealing
smash
with the
mouth
pass that way.
football, baby.
Yeah. So, like, we're seeing like Ashton Jonty go earlier. We're seeing some running backs go earlier, but I
I
don't
was
know if this
hoping
is a
that he
case
was
of
not going to be a Raider.
yeah. But I don't know if this is a case of some of that layover of like, unless they're like a star, we're not going to put as high of a value on them, or if this is like a just total misevaluation. But I mean, all three of those dudes, absolutely. I mean, Ollie Gordon and Devin Neal, I don't know. Yeah, actually, all three of those dudes could make a really big impact at all three of those teams.
Yeah, and that's kind of the shocker for me is I'm wondering if there's still some sort of like back at the mind president's feeling in that like the Big 12 is still the Big 12 of the early 2010s where
Uh,
there was no defense and there was no run game. It was all air raid all the time. And I mean, you even look at some of our draft, like most of our top picks were wide receivers.
yeah.
Like Travis Hunter, wide receiver,
Mhm.
McMillan, wide receiver, Higgins, wide receiver, Fetch, wide receiver, Jalen Knoll, receiver, Stavion Williams, receiver. Like
Yep.
half of our picks at the top of the draft were receivers.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to rub wounds into both of our arms here, but like I remember that Quentin Johnston was a highly touted wide receiver out of TCU.
Yeah.
And he went to LA Chargers and dude can't catch a pass worth of shit.
He's had flashes. I don't know.
And
I
he
kind of
was the
think.
same way at TCU, and everybody's like, "This is
Yeah.
the greatest wide receiver in the class." I'm like, you literally had Flowers right there.
Yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
had Zay Flowers.
I
and
mean,
you gave him to the Ravens for
Yeah.
free.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I kind of think Justin Herbert might throw the ball too hard. I'm gonna put the blame on
does.
him.
He does.
but yeah,
Still.
yeah. But yeah, really great class. Honestly, it's gonna be exciting to see how
31.
all of these guys pan out. Alrighty. Well,
Did you say that this was the Was this the second time that we've had 31? Or the second
This
highest?
is the most we've had. All that article said is this is the most picks we've had since 2005 when the league had 32 picks. Yeah. Match the conference's highest total since 2005 when the league garnered 32 total picks. Big 12 broke conference records with 7 running backs. That's the most ever, and 8 wide receivers selected. This year's class also gives the Big 12 a total of 774 selections in its history.
See, those are all impressive numbers. And yet we're here going, "Oh, you're just a glorified G5."
Come on, man. Come on.
Listen. Come on.
Yeah.
We're better than that. We're not the SEC, but the SEC has just a bunch of good talent in select positions, but they never have the best teams because you can't hoard all that talent.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be paying more than $200 million to have a NCAA football team.
Yeah.
That would be an NFL roster. I mean, I guess granted, Miami probably did it back in the U days.
Shoot, they're doing it now, man. Golly. They dropped a bag on our center to lure him away from TC. He wasn't even, I mean, all love to the Brockermeyers, but he wasn't that great. He wasn't $2 million or whatever it is they're paying him. I don't know. They've obviously got money to throw around.
The Pony Excess.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ESPN 30 for 30s. When they were dropping bags everywhere.
Yeah, that's
in the Southwest Conference.
Good old Southwest Conference. Bring it back, baby. Bring it back. All right, so that's all we got as far as draft coverage for you. And yes, Clint, 2005, that does include Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Missouri. Yeah, all of those teams. Good riddance.
Good riddance, I'd say.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, get out of
our coattails.
Yeah. So, Brownie, tell the folks where they can find you in case they don't know.
You can find me on Twitter at HoosierBurner or on Blue Sky at BrownieWRNL. Feel free to also check out our website, Wide Right Natty Light. Our Discord is also on our Wide Right Natty Light Twitter page. I also did do a breakdown of the Cyclone draft picks as well as UDFAs. That is on that site if you want to have a deeper dive into the Cyclones that were drafted.
Perfect. Y'all know the ats. At Clint Foster Creations on YouTube, at Clint_Foster55. Subscribe to the show at Big 12 BOCFD. Next week is Kansas State week. So be here for that one, okay? We're going to be coming down off of Cinco de Mayo and talking about, everyone thinks Cinco de Mayo, Manhattan, Kansas, it's going to be a perfect marriage, okay?
I might need some extra margaritas.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure you follow the Voice of College Football on Twitter and Instagram, and check out our website, vocfb.com, and find the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform. We're on all of them, baby. So just make us a part of your Tuesday night. Thanks a bunch, Clint. I thought it was a great show, too. So love y'all, and until next week, I hope your team wins. And go Big 12. Oh, no. We're off next week. I'm sorry. We're off next week. The following week is when Kansas State night is going to happen. I got a lot of graduation stuff up at the high school to deal with. So there we go. So we're off next week. Kansas State week next week. Love y'all. See you around.
They're going to drink the same amount of tequila.
Yeah, why not?